I want to take a look at a tweet that came out earlier today from Keisean Nixon. So Keisean Nixon says here on Twitter/X, at Keisean Nixon, LOL, I'm the nickel, get over it. And I can't know for a fact what caused him to tweet this, but I'm going to give you what my assumption is. And so after the Packers preseason game on Saturday, there was some talk about Javon Bullard potentially playing in the slot. And of course, Keisean Nixon has been the Packers slot corner. And I think the assumption is that he'll probably be the Packers slot corner in this 2024 season, especially considering the Packers recently gave him a new deal. But with Javon Bullard playing really, really well on Saturday, as well as Packers safety Evan Williams, it does beg the question, what is the Packers secondary, best makeup when it comes to who's playing safety, who's playing corner, who's playing in the slot? Because when you look at Javon Bullard, in 2022 at Georgia, he played most of his snaps in the slot that year. The next season, he played mostly safety. And so he has that versatility and that ability to play in the slot and at safety. And the Packers have been playing him in the slot and at safety. In this past preseason game, in his 20 snaps, Javon Bullard played 9 of those snaps in the slot. Keisean Nixon played 12 snaps. 7 of those were in the slot. And so, of course, Keisean Nixon is the veteran player here, a guy who has more experience. No doubt he probably has a better understanding of the NFL game. And I think he's a somewhat solid slot cornerback. If you look at a few of his stats from last year per PFF, he wasn't the greatest when it came to coverage and run grade among corners. If you look at his coverage grade last season among quarterbacks, it was 60.1, which is 96th. If you look at the run defense grade, it was among corners, it was 53.2, which would have been 98th. I still think he's a solid starting nickel corner, but when you look at Javon Bullard and the type of athlete he is, and you look at just his physicality, his tackling ability, I don't think it's a crazy idea to think that he could eventually take over in the slot for Keisean Nixon if the Packers feel that Evan Williams can hold his own as the safety next to Xavier McKinney. And so if we look at some of Javon Bullard's stats during his time in college, if you look at his coverage grade, in the slot per PFF, he was in the 82nd percentile. At safety, the 91st percentile, ran a 4.4740. And if you look at his missed tackle percentage in college, it was 10.8%. If you look at Keisean Nixon's missed tackle percentage in the NFL, it's 14.4%. And maybe, it doesn't translate necessarily from college to the NFL, but I think that Javon Bullard is a pretty solid tackler. And so that's where I think the Packers are going to have to see as training camp continues, as the regular season continues, as they try out, Keisean Nixon, as they try out Javon Bullard at safety, Evan Williams at safety. The fact that battle seems so close. Bullard did get the start there with Xavier McKinney at the preseason game. But I see why Javon Bullard hasn't easily run away with the Packers' starting safety job next to Xavier McKinney. And my guess it would be because of just how well Evan Williams has played. Anthony Johnson Jr. has gotten some starts there as well, if you guys have seen those different training camp updates. And so it's not just, is Javon Bullard a better slot corner than Keisean Nixon? At this point, it's probable that Keisean Nixon is still better because he has more experience. He's been around longer. And maybe as Javon Bullard plays more and more, he could have that ability. And also, as I said, it comes down to how good is Evan Williams. Do the Packers think that they're best off with Evan Williams at safety or Javon Bullard at safety? And if they do think that Evan Williams is a better safety than Javon Bullard, I just find it hard to believe that Javon Bullard will just stay on the bench. If I had to guess right now, I'd say Javon Bullard probably just ends up being the other starting safety. But it's interesting to think about, how they could change things around. And when you look at Keisean Nixon's contract, it's not like the Packers are paying him a ton of money. I'm pulling it up right now. But when he signed his contract this offseason, it was a 3-year, $18 million contract, so about $6 million per year. And so we'll keep an eye on it, see what happens here. But it's an interesting question to see, is Nixon the best answer at cornerback? I would say right now he probably is. But we'll keep an eye on that to see if any of that changes in the future. But if you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys next time.